Right guys, it's going to be a 1080 Master Nightfall solo on a Titan and how to get the Platinum rank on this one. As you saw from the start, the modifiers, there's things like Fire Pit on, champions, we have Anti-Barrier and Unstoppable, the usual Master Nightfall modifiers. The only modifier, or maybe two modifiers, is Void and Aerial Damage is increased, and Togetherness. These two modifiers are deadly and create the run, especially on solo, to be very slow. I'm using a Hive build, so I've got Hive Barrier, Hive Repurposing, Hive Armaments, and it's still taking me quite a good bit of time. Now I'm not using the actual PvE meta in the game. I'm using things like Simulant, double primary, so that slows it down, but even still, Togetherness slows this run down significantly. Plus on a Titan, Titans aren't known for getting their health regen back. There's only a couple of you know, perks. There's a lot of perks via your melee that get you your health regen, but in Master Nightfalls, things like that, you're not always melee and stuff. In this one you are a little bit here and there on Thrall, but overall you're not. So we have to utilise exotics like One-Eyed Mask or Crest of Alpha Lupi. There's others, but those are the main two. I like Crest of Alpha Lupi with a tier 8 resilience minimum. Reason for that is because your wall, your tower and barricade, lasts for 20 seconds. When you get to tier 8 resilience, it's a 21-second cooldown, and then when you get to tier 9, tier 10, it's even quicker. I've also got Concussive Dampener on my armor, so what that does is for any splash damage that I receive or things like that, I'm going to take reduced damage from there as well. I'm above 1080. If you're below 1080 and you do not have raid mods, do not be attempting this solo, as you're going to be here a long time doing it. So you'd be better off just getting a team in that case. But if you're 1080 and you've got some of these raid mods, it's definitely doable. I highly recommend a Hunter over any other class this week, just because what the Hunter can do with invisibility, not so much bottom tree but top tree. But I'm not going to talk too much about that because we're talking about the Titan run. So this opening encounter, there's not much to it. We have weapons on, so we've got this pulse rifle here, which is available from the season pass. I forget the name of it, to be honest. We've also got Uriel's gift on, which has anti-barrier rounds in, which is really good. We've got a good range set up on it. We've also got disruption break on it with Sleep the Simulant, as I said. So we've got all three shields covered because we have our Sentinel subclass on. So we can take void shields. Mainly there is arc shields above all else. And then solar next, and then there's a couple of void here and there, especially at the end of the fight. But it's not too much of a problem when you'll see when I get there. So this opening encounter, you're going to have two warrior champions to deal with, a lot of acolytes, a lot of cursed thrall. We can take them from distance because we've got unstoppable on our pulse rifle. So usually I would run an unstoppable hand cannon, especially in Osmosis one, but since the way we do Savathun song is we play everything from range, which you can. So having an unstoppable pulse rifle on is better than a hand cannon, just because of the range. We're on console as well, so hand cannons, PC and console, both they're terrible for range. We want to fight from range, so a pulse rifle's better overall. These champions as well, if we time it right and get both our crits, we can usually actually one phase the champion without even having to take a shield. So if we time an Oppressive Darkness and two sleeper shots, we can actually do that. We don't always do it like that, because sometimes we like to farm a nade back off the champion. So every time we break a shield, we get our grenade back. The reason for that is Hive Repurposing. So we can farm heavy off the champions while we're taking them down that way. That's the two champions dealt with. They're not too, like I say, threatening to deal with as long as we're charging them with full health. That's where Lupi comes in. Anytime we're weak, you know, we can do that. But that's the main thing. Never try to approach a champion if you're below, say, half health or half health. Now we're going to do a bubble for Weapons of Light, and then we're going to proc the first Unstoppable Ogre. stop him first, and then we're going to try and get the Unstoppable, which usually takes around 3 shots, and then we can retreat. It's just optimizing it and just taking out the Unstoppable before the barriers can sort of start shooting us and stuff. Plus our Roman super, we're on top tree Sentinel, our Roman super is not useful so much. The bubble's way more useful because the weapons are light. We're going to start with 2 sleeper shots. First, got our nades, we can farm ammo back. So, the champion got us weak, but I knew I had enough health to deal with. Also, we're isolating each champion by taking, you know, so if we're taking the right champion, we'll be on the far left so that the left champion can't see us. Then again, we'll start prepping the knight. What's also buffing sleeper is our counter charge build. So we've got a counter charge mod on our chest plate with a high energy fire mod as well. So every time we stagger a shield, break a shield or stagger an ogre, we get the 20% damage buff, which does stack with Oppressive Darkness. That's the basics of the first part anyways. There's not a lot to it. It takes quite a long time. The whole Nightfall is long. Okay, so it's not for the faint-hearted, this one. If you're not used to solo stuff, this is not one of the best ones. The Nightfall itself's fine. It's not the Nightfall, it's Togetherness. Which basically, it states that your base health regen is reduced by half. I would say it's like, I think that's the regeneration. So when your health starts to regen, it regens half the speed. But you also don't get any health regen for a long time. If you're behind cover long enough, eventually your health will regen. So you can play it to your advantage that way, but like I said, this modifier is the worst one out of the Master Nightfall modifiers. So you've got Famine, Chaff, Attrition, Togetherness. This one's the hardest one for peeps. On a team, it's not so bad because it encourages team shoot and whatnot. But on solo, you have no way. I just feel as though they made this modifier and they forgot that people actually go in Nightfalls and solo them. Like, people have been soloing Nightfalls since Destiny 1. I don't know why they made this mod. Like, at least they could have modified it to solo play somehow. I'm not sure how. I don't have the answer for it. But this modifier is just not well thought out at all. It's not that it makes it difficult. It just means that it makes it that it's more passive. That you have to play passive, very passive. So we had a nade ready for that wizard, which almost one-shot the wizard. So we just primed them down. No need to use heavy. We also got our grenade back because we've got Hive Repurposing. So every time we break a shield, including champions, like I said earlier, we're gonna get our nade back. I prefer magnetic grenade over the void wall for this because wizards are floating targets. It's just good to stick a champion rather than, you know, relying on void wall. Sometimes it can miss and stuff, and you have to be perfect with your nade every time. So I would recommend using magnetic. Magnetic still does decent amount of damage as well. One shots wizards, stuff like that. So we messed up a little bit there, but the magnetic grenade had stuck the champion. I didn't want to stick the champion, I wanted to stick the acolyte, so I thought I would try to take the champion, but we got weak. If I hadn't got weak from the Shrieker, I would have been able to actually finish him. That's fine, we took him down at a different point, plus we've got heavy on the floor. What didn't help me on this is that Sleeper Simulant base ammo is 9. Yeah? Not a lot of ammo. Compared to, especially over exotics, things like Xenophage, Anarchy, like Anarchy is 30. And that's with reserves. Without reserves 26. Xenophage like 28. Sleeper's only got 9, so if I had a soul Crest of Alpha Lupi, which I easily could have got one and upgraded it, I just didn't bother, but if I had done that I would have put double linear reserves on, because heavy reserves doesn't work. It has to be linear reserves, and I got 11 shots rather than 9. Right now we're waiting for the Shrieker to stop like he just did. I don't know the tick rate every time that this Shrieker stops. I do know for the boss, but not for this. So you just wait behind this pillar, when the Shrieker stops, you can do a dunk. If the Shrieker kills you, that's fine. As long as you get the dunk when the Shrieker kills you, you will die, but the Shrieker also die, and you'll have the checkpoint. Therefore, when you res up, you'll have this. You'll be able to scan this bit and go on with the Nightfall. There's not extinguish. There's no extinguish on this.
There's a network of magic
So it's fine on the Master.
archaeology.
On Grandmaster, no, it's not fine. If you die, that's it. You go into orbit.
They're using void light to summon something down there.
Hello? Is anyone there?
So we've got a super to use here. Ideally, watching this back, I probably should have saved my
Yes. We can hear
super and used a bubble for the ogres. That's the better way of doing it.
I can barely hear you.
But I just wanted to save a little time because it's such a long Nightfall. We're going to stick him. Like I said, you can one phase the champions, especially if you get a ricochet shot like that, which is really handy. This pulse rifle as well is really effective, strong. It's a high impact frame which got buffed this season. Cold Denial, that's the name of it. Which I've totally forgot the name of it. It's not the god roll, but it's near enough there. It does the job what I want. With multi-kill clip and a lot of reload stuff. Plus I've got enhanced pulse rifle loader on. We're not using Uriels much at all. Uriels is good, it's not so bad, but we're just using that as our shield break weapon. So with the double ogre room, I'm very surprised that they're not champions. But despite that, you want to take the champion, not the champions, the ogres from distance. There's one there, and then there's one at the back of the map. The one at the back of the map will not spawn until these front ads are taken out. But you want to prioritize the ogres before you start dealing with ads on each part. There'll be two champions as well, two anti-barriers in this section. They don't pair up. Their AI doesn't seem to do that. They seem to sort of hang around with different packs of acolytes from what I've seen. I've only done 2 runs on this week so far. My first run was a really long run experiment, and then this run was the run where I thought it was decent enough to upload, so I think we'll do our 2 shots with Sleeper. We'll try and get the grenade. We didn't get the grenade to kill the champion. What we should have done is done a little bit more damage, then do a nade to finish. That was fine. So you'll find a lot. I'm optimizing my ammo a lot. Just like I said, because of the Sleep is very good. It's just ammo's not the best. But we have unlimited ammo. Technically, it's Hive armaments, so. Plus we'll use Hive Repurposing to our advantage, as when you get a finisher kill, when you have Hive Repurposing on your armor, it instantly refills your grenade back, which comes in very handy at the boss. Not so much specifically Thrall, when they've got a lot of Thrall on me and stuff like that. So we'll try to take out all the acolytes first, as when you're in cover they tend to throw a lot of solar nades at you. But we want to isolate the champions from the acolytes. That's what we're doing here. Right now I'm just trying to bait out the champion shielders. We don't want to use too much ammo. But what ends up happening to me here is that the champion side rolls into cover, or goes to cover, and then I can't break shield, so nothing was wasted though, because I'll get my nade back on the shield break, and I was only using primary, so. And I was just trying to optimize my ammo and try and save a bit, because I've got Sleeper to use on some wizards. There's 2 wizards there. There's an additional yellow bar ultra ogre. Got to use Sleeper on that. So I was just trying to save on ammo. But in the end I just used Sleeper just to deal with him, because he's been annoying. This is a good position to handle him as well. If you don't have a Uriel's gift handy, because it seems rarish, I don't get this drop much. I mean, you can farm it from the gunsmith, and it's a world drop as well. But if you don't have that, you just go to the moon, and you can do the whatever it's called, the nightmare thing, and get the moon arc auto rifle, which is a 600 RPM, same as 900, I believe. So it's pretty good. It's an arc version of that. It's not as good as 900, but you could use that as well. Now we're farming this knight with his arc shield to get some more ammo. We've got some bricks on the floor as well, but we want to save that, so we've got more ammo overall to use. It's a way of extending your ammo even though you've only got 9. You know, if you've got 9 and a brick on the floor, that's 12. Another 3 there. Now we're going to do a bubble. We missed a couple of shots here. We should have hit more than what we did. That's fine. We got the ogre half health. When he gets below half or half-ish, he backs up to in the corner of the map. And then you have these arc shielded knights, which is good. Again, we can use their shields against them. Okay, so now the priority will be the solar wizards. For I could have swore that should have hit, but usually I want to use 2 shots per wizard, or 1 shot and then a nade if I can, depending on if they're close enough to nade. The further you push up at this part as well, the more dangerous it can be with the ogre, but as long as you don't let the ogre see you, you're safe. He won't push. He will not push until he sees. Just looking for the next wizard. The wizard obviously pushes while I'm trying to do damage. And we've got that wizard. Now we just need to get the ogre and there'll be a couple of acolytes and that's this area done. Like I said, it's not too threatening this part. You can play everything from range, especially the fact that we've got a pulse on as well. It's much better than running with a hand cannon. And we're looking for any ammo. Very important for it.
We came down here as a squad of 9. Got picked off one by
And
one.
in this next section it can be quite dangerous if all acolytes push you at once. You just have to be aware of it if they do. We're using heavy here and there because we've got a brick in the previous room, so we can
These are all guardians.
speed it up a little bit. With the modifier where it states acolytes when they're defeated they leave a solar pool, can actually benefit you because the any acolytes standing in that solar pool can get damaged from it. The thing what I don't like about all those mods like Fire Pit, Shocker, there's one for Vex where if you defeat Vex they leave an arc pool. All those mods, those modifiers, they don't make any sense because you just use a long range weapon and you negate the full modifier. So it's like the modifier's not on, but it means that you can't use close quarter builds like Liar's Handshake build, or when you're in a Roman server it's not so bad, but it's putting you off from using shotguns and stuff. So those modifiers, they're just not a fan of them, to be honest, because of that. We're going to use a super here just to get past. We want to get past the champions. While at it, we'll take a couple of acolytes, but we're not too bothered about our super at this point. We just want to get up here, that's the biggest thing. Because taking the champions from the other side is a lot harder. can take the nights relatively safe. We can get hit from solar nades from acolytes. There'll be a bunch of acolytes to my left where all the wizards are and stuff as well. They can spam you as well. It depends if they see you. Like now they've seen me, they may spam their move. That's why you want to take these champions out pretty quick. Prep the knight. We can always get 2 shots of sleep wrap before he does a shield because he gets staggered off the first one, so it's like time to do that second shot. There'll be another anti-barrier where the wizards are, which that champion's more awkward than the 2 I've just taken. Our goal here wasn't to wake the wizards up as well. Since they're void, I mean if we can get a stick with a magnetic, that's fine. We can get our nade back and then take out the second one. But we don't want to wake up we want to take the knight out before we wake up the wizards. That's the goal, because the wizards will then spam you from where we're standing, and so will the knight, increasing the risk. Just trying to get the knight in a good spot. When we do, we can then get him. We can get his shield as well, just about from here. If wizards were also attacking us there, we could have wiped, so that's why. But we did end up waking the wizards up, but that was fine, I guess, because we at least dealt with the champion before they did. Since we haven't got a nade, we didn't optimize and think about that. We used it on the champion instead. We're gonna skip past the wizards. We need to, if you're gonna do this, make sure that you have full health before you do it. To then start fighting the thrall that's spawning, and they spawn in once you push past the wizards, like so. In this area here as well, there'll be no ads. Generally there's ads here of course, but none of the ads in this area spawn up until you've dealt with the wizards, the thrall, and the relics. The relic's the sort of trigger for it. If you pick up the relic and push up, then they'll spawn in. I don't advise doing that until clear all the ads beforehand though. Unless you're on a hunter and you're doing an invis run or something, then it's fine. And we're getting any orbs. Well, we've got an ammo brick there, we're not going to pick that up because we've got 8. We can save that for later as we need a lot of slaver ammo coming up. There's going to be 3 unstoppables. No, there will be 2 anti-barriers. So 2 anti-barriers, 3 unstoppables in that next room there. That's a lot of champions to deal with. Since I missed my nade, I kind of screwed up with that, so I just figured I'll use my super. But if I had hit my nade like I was supposed to, I would have got my nade back and killed the wizard. Just use a super instead. It's a waste, but it's not at the same time because my super's never useful really, because of all the modifiers. The main thing with the super is the bubble is very useful, but the Roman super is not, because you never want to be out of position. The super is that it actually puts you at risk. If you try and clear all the ads and then you're standing in a spot when your super ends where you shouldn't be, you could get wiped. So with this section, there's 2 spawns of ads. When you pick up the relic, the first set of ads will spawn in, which you see right here with the 2 anti-barriers, but none of the unstoppables spawn in. The unstoppables would spawn in if, say, we were on a hunter and we picked up the relic. Say we picked up the relic, bypassed all these ads and got to the ogres, they would spawn in then. So second spawn is dictated by the relic and if you've got the relic in that room as well. Now there'll be 3 or 4 acolytes to the right. We need to take them first before we engage with the champion to our left in this corridor. And then there'll be 2 acolytes. If you can get the 2 acolytes, quickly, then that'll help out. Now this angle right here is not the best angle to take the champion from. If I had been reloaded though, it wouldn't have been so bad, I guess. So that's the thing that I was choking on, forgetting to reload Uriels, which is not ideal, but the better angle to take the anti-barrier is from this area here. About 2 sleeper shots, shield break, which takes around about half of the mag of Uriel's. Mine's got ricochet rounds on it. It has got a penny mag, but I opted for the ricochet just for that increased range. So that's the anti-barriers dealt with. Now we can go for the relic and then deal with the unstoppables. As you can see there, my health came up there, so as you can see, if it's long enough without being hit, you will eventually get that regen of health. I was just wanting to see what that ogre was doing. It looked like he was wandering up here. I mean, they can do a lot. The AI isn't scripted from what I've saw. It's kind of random in certain instances. I wasn't sure what he was doing, but got to be safe with them because they can melt you down with the modifier Void Burn on for them. Just wanted to see what the ogre was going to do. Backed up first. The ogre actually pushed back. That was fine. Generally there'll always be one unstoppable roaming around in this area and then 2 in the other room. And they generally push 1 at a time, but like I said, there's a bit of randomness and sometimes 2 can push at the same time as well. It just depends on whether they see you. If two of them see you in that room, both of them can sometimes push. Just want to get all the acolytes away so they don't spam me. So now the unstoppable's pushing. Probably the trigger was that all the acolytes were killed in this room, so that caused the unstoppable to push. A couple of acolytes push with him as well. There's quite a couple of acolytes in that trigger room. Right now we're saving up on ammo. We have a lot of bricks in the other room, but again we're just trying to be efficient as possible. We're sort of waiting on our nade as well. We'll get our stop here on the ogre, and then we get our nade kill, like so. And we'll only have 1 more unstoppable to deal with. These aren't too bad. They're dangerous if you let them have sustained fire on you, and you don't back up. That's when they're dangerous, but you can control them. Probably easier than the anti-barriers. Wanting to see what this ogre would do, as I haven't ran much Savathun song on a Titan for ages. I done a hunter run last time it was up, but I didn't do a Titan run or a Warlock run. So now we're checking the room out in the double shrieker room. All ads must be killed for us to survive and get the double dunk. It's fine, like with the first shrieker. It's fine to trade and get the dunk and die. You'll die, but you'll get the checkpoint. and you'll be at the next part, so that's fine. But if you die before you get the double dunk, you'll have to do all this section again. So you don't want that. Also, there's a section right here where you can check the room. This is very useful because it might appear down there, like when you're looking through that door, might look like there's no acolytes up, but they hide. They're notorious for it. So always check that glass. We've also saved a super for this bit. That's why we never use a super really in that room. It wouldn't have benefited us anywhere. But we're going to be using a bubble for this part. It won't be essential to use a bubble for this part. If you have something like Wendigo on, or a blinding nade energy grenade launcher, or suppression nades. Like I could have ran suppression nades, that would blind the streakers, you can get the dunk. But like I said, on master it's fine to trade. There's no extinguish on. We'll do a bubble here, and then we're waiting for that streaker on the right side to stop shooting. You must wait for that streaker to stop shooting. When they stop shooting, you can then get the dunk. Like you saw, even with a bubble. I mean, I don't have Helm of Saint 14 on, but because Togetherness is on, I can't. If Togetherness wasn't on and we had famine or something, I would definitely have Helm of Saint 14 for the overshield. Now we're going to use a couple of magnetic grenades. Take down the wizards. We're full on ammo as well for the boss fight, which you definitely want a good amount of heavy. Another alternative that you could use is Interphage instead of Slaver. It's much better on ammo.
Never mind. Going with that plan.
And it would probably do a better job overall than what Slaver did. I just wanted to use Slaver because I enjoy using it. That's the only reason. Not because it's more effective. But it's decent for boss damage though. It's good for that. And like I say, champions, it's good for champions as well. Easy to use. It's just the ammo's its problem. Now what we're doing here is we're waiting for the wanted target to leave. We also want a super, a bubble for the boss, like as soon as we start that boss fight. So I'm inclined to play this slow. I don't need to rush and run past. I mean, because of the aerial damage is increased, so if we're jumping, like say if we're jumping past a load of acolytes and we mistime the jump and a bunch of, not acolytes but cursed, if they explode and get us while we're in the air, that's a wipe. So we don't want it. It's not so bad if we wipe it, we'll be at the witches, but again we don't want it really. Since we were confident on that bit, I knew I could skip past.
She sacrificed herself.
So only skip past if you know what you're doing. You know exactly where everything is and where the wanted target was. As what we want to do is have a couple of cursed in this room so that if they drop us any heavy, that's additional heavy to rely on later, because we need a lot of ammo for that, for the boss fight itself, for void shield, wizards and stuff like that. Plus there's unstoppable champions to deal with here as well. Now the wanted target has escaped, which is exactly what we wanted. We didn't want to take him out. Not worth it. Doesn't affect your platinum rank or anything. It'll give you more score, but that's about it. Okay, so now we're on to the boss. The boss fight's going to take you between 10 to 15 minutes, depending on what build you use, and even on a hunter it's going to take you at least 10 minutes to do the boss and kill all the acolytes and the champions, stuff like that. A good position for doing damage is around about on this hill. Maybe not too far up, because you want to hit your nade and stuff. I was just thinking of where the best place to do a bubble is. Just somewhere where there's decent cover and where we can hit our nade without missing and also get a good amount of shots off. We're going to do a bubble here. find a good angle, and obviously Oppressive Darkness stacks with Weapons of Light. Do the nade first, we'll hit him twice on the first teleport, that will then initiate the next phase, and we do another 2 shots, and that's the boss to close up straight away. What was unfortunate there is that the boss doing a couple of extra shots. That was kind of unlucky, but ended up surviving it. Now what we want to do is use Hive Repurposing finisher kills to get our grenade back and get max ammo again. The whole run's centered around that really. Because we're using double primary, it's the better way of doing it. You can, if I'd used with a horde, I wouldn't have needed to use Unstoppable at all. It would just take so long though, taking down the champions without Unstoppable on. So another thing I could have done was use a solo subclass. Thing with that is, we need to go buff as it ensures that we get the final dunk. I mean, if I was to go a solo subclass, that's fine. We're going to be able to run solo Unstoppable melee with, you know, an anti-barrier weapon and a special weapon. But none of that matters if we can't get the final dunk. Then it doesn't matter. It's not viable. So when you're thinking of subclasses to run for a Nightfall solo, you need to think of everything. So one subclass might be good for starting section or for all the run, but it's rubbish for the boss fight. Or one subclass where it's really good for the boss fight, but it's rubbish for the rest of the run. So that's another thing to consider. You need to make sure whatever you're running is good for everything on the Nightfall itself. So now we've got 2 anti-barriers to deal with and a bunch of acolytes. So our goal right now is to take care of all acolytes before dealing with any champions. This bit can be quite slow, just because of the spam of the knights and the acolytes. Probably the best angle to deal with the acolytes is probably over there on the right side. Anytime we're weak as well, we're not risking it. We pop a wall. Try not to be running around if your health is red, especially if there's a lot of acolytes alive and stuff. As one solo nade, if you're hiding in cover, one solo nade can you know, cause a wipe. It's also not too bad to take an additional amount of time, as we need a bubble for the next phase as well. This angle right here is probably the best angle, I would say, for taking all the acolytes. I believe there's just one more acolyte to take. In the end I just deal with one of the champions. There's different angles to take these champions from, but whichever one you take, so if you take the one that's near the boss, then the one on the right side will go where the boss is. But if you take the one on the right, then the left one will just stay where he is. It doesn't really matter, there's no better way. Just whichever one you find a good angle on, do that one first. This isn't so bad here, as the other champ can't really see us. Get our stun. Also nice as well, as we got the ricochet kill. That's good. I will heal up, rotate. We've got that acolyte still. I didn't forget about him. Take him, and then we can get the second anti-barrier to trigger the boss to open up. with Titan being sunset, this Nightfall here is going to be removed as of November, so it's a shame because it's one of the best ones. It's one of the best Nightfalls we have. I don't know why they can't just keep hold of it somehow or put it in the strike playlist. As there's a lot of strikes in D2 that aren't very good, to be honest. There's a lot of them, like Lake of Shadows stuff, like they're keeping Lake of Shadows. I get it, it's on ADZ, but it's one of the worst it's one of the worst strikes. It's not very fun for knife. Like, it's good for farming and that, but it's not enjoyable. I don't find it to be. So we're going to take the champion from this location here. The reason is so that we're in position for when the boss teleports. We'll do a bubble here. We'll get our nade. And then we'll do a good amount of shots to trigger the boss to teleport. If I was a little quicker there, I should have got that third shot. So, fine. We're trying to get our finisher kill. Fortunately, the nade hit the bubble and didn't hit the troll. Now we're going to back up to this area here. We need to get at least one shot, as it's quite dangerous because the boss is opened up in this brawl. We get our one shot to close the boss. When the boss closes up, there'll be 2 unstoppable ogres spawn, and then when you kill one of them, there'll be another spawn. So there's 3 in total. This is when we can start filling back up on our ammo reserve. Back here is your safe zone. So even though there's unstoppables, they're not threatening so much because they will never push you to this area unless you bait them to do that. That's now, I think that's all for all, or most of them dead. Now we generally take out the unstoppable on the left. 2 shots gets him weakish. I'm gonna finish him off. This part can be kind of annoying as the acolytes, like it looks like, if you look over there now, it looks like there's only 2 or 3, but there's quite a lot of acolytes because they hide. And we're just sort of going to work on the acolytes while working on the unstoppable at the same time, while waiting our nade as well. There's no more thrall to manipulate with the repurposing, so we have to sort of wait on our nade. We can keep getting charged with light on the ogre, so that's nice though. Now we can get our nade kill. We'll use a shot on the ogre as well, just to be done with it. Not take too long. Then we'll just have one unstoppable. It's very important not to take out the unstoppable. If I was to take out the unstoppable right now, that would open the boss up, and then there will be acolytes everywhere, and that's going to cause a wipe because we need to be in cover while handling the next phase. We also need to do DPS, a lot of things we need to do, so it's important we take care of all acolytes before we deal with the last unstoppable. The last unstoppable, as long as he doesn't see you, he won't push, you are free to take the ads. The only problem with it is trying to get the ads to push you. What we can do is stop the ogre and look around, things like that. Again, we also want a bubble, so we're not going to be using our super or anything. We've got heavy scattered around the map, which we're going to need for later, as we still need to do a good amount of damage. We need to take void shielded wizards from distance. That's where Sleeper comes in. And the final stand with the boss. So important that we're going with full heavy, or as much as we can. Now we can take out all remaining acolytes. I think that's everything. Then we can deal with the ogre. We're going to get him weak first. We're going to prep him so that when we kill him, we're in our spot for DPS. Like I said, this Nightfall is a very long one, no matter how you approach it. The only time where it's not so long on the Master is if you were to run a Hunter with top tree invis, not bottom tree, because the bottom tree invis doesn't work for the boss. Whereas top tree works better with double dodge. So now we're prepping the ogre. Ogre's weak enough to one shot with Sleeper. We've also got a bubble to use as well, which we want to use it around this location here. What we want to negate is when the boss rotates to middle, they will do an attack, like a super attack, and you've got to shoot that attack down. If you don't, you'll die. You may survive it in a bubble, but to completely bypass that move, we need to do a lot of damage. We get a shot on the first teleport, and we just keep hitting him. We could have done an Oppressive Darkness as well, but really didn't need to. At that point, we're then going to rotate for all the Fraulet spawn. So there'll be a bunch of Fraulet spawn and a wizard, a void shielded wizard in middle. We're going to overshield as well. This here is probably the best cover on the map, as it's cover from the boss. And you can easily take out all the Thrall as well. It's a good point to be filling back up on ammo. Like with most of the run, we're going to need another bubble for the final dunk. It just makes it more consistent. You probably could get the final dunk without running, without using a bubble at all. The only reason why I wait for the bubble is just so that because of the modifiers, void and aerial. So what are you doing? You're jumping up and the boss is hitting you with void. It would melt you. So to negate it, we're going to use a bubble with time in our dunk as well. That's very important, which I'll explain when we get to that bit. Right now we want to get closer to the relic, as when we pick up the relic, that will spawn in the 2 additional wizards. They're void shielded. Yeah, we could hit them with a magnetic and stuff, but they're going to dodge that nade. That's just what they do. We'll throw a nade at them and they'll just dodge it. So rather than do that, since we've got a lot of ammo, we've optimized that. We can use Sleeper on them. So we pick up the relic, drop the relic, and then we retreat to the back of the map to a safe area. These 2 pillars are probably the best. And then we're just going to wait for the wizard when it's a good point to take out. The wizard will not shoot from there as well, which is really good. And the boss can't hit you from here either. Usually takes 3 shots to take out the shield. And then I fire an extra one just to be done with it. Like I said, we've got ammo on the floor, so we're within our right to do it. And it's just speed it up. Now we get the next angle on the wizard. Very important that you do take the wizards out. If you try and get the dunk with the wizards alive, you will wipe to it. No doubt. No doubt. So be sure to take the wizards out. Now we're close to our bubble, 90%, so we're going to wait on that. First we're going to get the orb though, and then hide behind this speaker right here. So, to explain what happens with this boss fight, or this, the AI of this boss, the void blasts, they happen every ticks. So, it's 8 ticks, and then after 8 ticks there's a gap. Like so. If you can see the gap there. So you've got to count it in your mind, 1, 2, 3, you know, count the ticks. As you want to sort of push on the 7th or 8th tick, probably the 7th tick. Because that brief spell of time you get is when you can do the jump. We're not going to go yet though, as the bubble gives us more distance as well. We're counting the ticks. I'm not going to count them, but end up going on the 7th. As you can see, the boss stopped shooting me. We can get a dunk. We have plenty of health left, so it's consistent. You better get it every time. Then we'll do a nade, 2 sleeper shots, a wall if we need,
We couldn't have done it without taking
and then we're good on that.
Guardians.
So like I said, the bubble just helps the consistency of it. You probably could do it without the bubble on a well-timed
Zavala and Sloan
jump. But other than that, that was the 1080 Master Nightfall solo on a Titan and getting the Platinum rank on the Togetherness one. With no pinnacle weapons either. Hope you enjoyed, thank you.